Hi everyone! In this video, I will share with you 10 tips that helped me improve my English skills. First of all, I would like to say thank you very much for visiting my channel. It means so much to me. And for my future basic, intermediate, and advanced English tutorials, I will be giving free practice tests. So make sure to subscribe. So, let's get started. Being an English as a second language or foreign language learner, I know that learning English is sometimes daunting, confusing, frustrating, and even worse, depressing, especially when we are just starting to learn the basics. And I know also that there have been a lot of people already who have shared tips on how to improve English skills. So there might be tips that are not included here in this video because the ones I'm about to share with you are the ones that worked for me with the situation that I had before. And also, here's a little background about my language. Actually, English is already my third language. Kind of, because Tagalog or Filipino is my second language. And my native language is Visayan or Bisaya. So there you go. Now, let's go to the first one. Our first step is to set your goal and objectives. That is right. You need to set your goal and objectives. Well, here's a funny story about what happened to me 10 years ago. A friend of mine introduced her American boyfriend to me. And I was so stunned because I did not know what to say and I could hardly understand what he was saying that time. Although he was friendly to me, but I was still so embarrassed because my major is English. But how in the world could I not even engage in and sustain even a very simple conversation like that? And I was so disappointed that time. But after that incident, I set my goal and objectives. Actually, after I set my goal and objectives, it helped me become more self-oriented. It made me see clearly the things that I want to achieve. I know we want to learn English, but we also need to be specific about what we want to do first and next. Later on, I'll talk more about that. And also, when setting your goal and objectives, you need to write them down. A graphic organizer like this is very helpful. It helps you organize your thoughts. Okay? So, what are you waiting for? Think about your goal and objectives now. Let's go to the second one. Our second tip is know your weaknesses and strengths. Yes. For me, it is very important that we know our weaknesses and strengths so that we won't waste time, energy, resources doing things which can really help us improve our skills. And being able to do that will make us prioritize which skills need more improvement and immediate improvement. But how do we do that? Well, you are very lucky these days because there are a lot of available free online assessment tests. For speaking, you can visit cambridgeenglish.org, and for listening, reading and writing, well, they also have speaking. You can visit examenglish.com. Although you don't get immediate feedback like what a real person does, you get scores. Remember that you do these assessments just to let you know, let you see which skills need more improvement and which skills need less improvement so that you can prioritize the skills you need to work on first. Okay? So visit these websites. These are very helpful. Now, let's go to the third one. For our third tip, master the basics of English grammar. Yes, you need to master the basics of English grammar like the parts of speech, sentence construction, and subject-verb agreement. Because if you don't do that, you will have problems when later on you do listening, writing, and speaking activities. And about the basics of English grammar, don't worry about that because I will be doing video tutorials as well. So make sure to follow this channel. Now, let's go to the fourth one. The fourth one is practice. Yes, practice is the best process that I did to help me improve my English skills. Well, how do you think those athletes become the best at what they are doing? Those musicians, those basketball players. Even learning how to drive a bicycle needs practice, right? You can't just practice English grammar forever because it will be useless if you don't put it into practice. Now, for speaking, I practiced speaking with my friends. We decided to use English instead of our native language whenever we talk to each other. For listening, writing, and reading, let's look at the next tips. For the fifth tip, record yourself. That's right. Recording yourself while reading a passage is also helpful. Well, by doing that, you get to check your intonation, your pronunciation, your accent, everything about speaking and reading. Well, I know that it's weird hearing yourself, but you have to deal with it, okay? Because it is very helpful, I promise you. Now, let's go to the next one. Our next step is to write. Yes, you need to write because this is the best process to put your grammar into practice. Before, I practiced writing by making personal journals. I would also ask my friends to check them. It's not bad to ask for help because we are still learning the basics of English grammar, so we need help. Okay? So these days, well, you have a lot of available, free platform for writing. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and a lot more, right? So you have no excuses not to write, okay? Even very short compositions, it will do. So go ahead and write. Our next tip is to watch movies that are in English with and without subtitle. Yes. Well, supposedly, watching a movie is a time for entertainment, right? But this was not the case when I was in college. I would always spare time to watch a movie alone. You know why? In order for me to go back to the part where a character says something which I could not understand clearly. And by doing that, by watching a movie, it also helped me practice my listening skill, and at the same time, it was the best chance for me to see how native speakers of English speak, their usual expressions, intonations, their pronunciations, and even their sentence construction. Our next tip is to read a lot. Honestly, when I was in college, I was not so fond of reading novels because I was more into reading about technologies. I just got into reading novels when I discovered that my favorite movie is from a novel. Aside from getting information, reading helps you build your vocabulary. And by also reading, you get to see how seasoned writers write, how they construct sentences. And by, exposing yourself to reading, and by reading a lot, you also expose yourself to the basics of English grammar. So you are now hitting two birds with one stone. So go ahead, read anything that you like, okay? Our next step is to listen to English songs. That is right. Listening to English songs will help us improve our listening skill. And when you do this, I suggest that you also get a copy of the lyrics of that song. Because sometimes we tend to guess the words, right? We tend to mishear the lyrics of the song. So it is very helpful that you get the lyrics of the song, because you get to see, you get to know if the words you hear are the same with the ones on the lyrics. Okay? So go ahead, listen to songs. Now for our last tip, read and memorize tongue twisters. Well, you know, this is by far the most boring thing that I did in the past, but don't ever underestimate the power of tongue twisters. As the name suggests, it twists your tongue because it stretches all the muscles in your mouth. And in time, you will realize that when you read or utter simple words, it becomes effortless. So, yeah, go ahead and search the internet, look for some tongue twisters. So these are the things that I did that helped me improve my English skills. All of them worked for me, so maybe they will also work for you. And if you are currently doing or have already done any of these tips, please share your experiences in the comment section below. And if you think this video is helpful, please share with your friends and consider subscribing. So, again, this is Teacher Dong. Don't forget to study, practice, and repeat. Bye!